Yo, what is up, guys? It's your boy JELSON here, and today we're back at it with a brand new NBA video for you guys' entertainment. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about a poverty franchise, and I can say that because they're my favorite team, the Minnesota Timberwolves. And they are poverty in the past, but as I said in my Is the Timberwolves the Future video, that may not be the case for very much longer. But anyway, in today's video, I'm going to be talking about what are some trade packages or some trades that the Timberwolves could make to make this team even better for the future. So there's an obvious couple that people have talked about in the past. And, there's rumors going around all the time about who the Timberwolves are interested in and what they can acquire. Obviously, we need a power forward. We love Jaden McDaniels, but we don't know if he's going to be a small forward, power forward. He needs to bulk up if he's going to be that full-time power forward for us. So with that being said, let's get into a few candidates for this offseason. To start off today's video, we're going to start with Danillo Gallinari, member of the Atlanta Hawks. Got a Hawks jersey back there. A man that is getting paid 2 years, $20 million. And it's actually not terrible. $10 million a year. For a guy that's going to play a lot of offense, put up shots, do what you need. Obviously, he's not a good defender, which is an issue for this team because we have so much offense and zero defense. And why am I bringing him up? Especially when I said we don't need another offensive playmaker or an offensive scorer. We need a defensive mind. Well, it's because you can never have enough offense. I don't think. A lot of people said that you need the ball a lot. Like there's not enough ball to go around with the Nets team, if that makes any sense. You got Kyrie, KD, and James Harden. There's not enough ball to go around with these scorers, and they proved that wrong. So that's why I say there's never enough offense. Getting a guy like Danilo Gallinari is a great guy. He's a great leader, and you know what he does. He's a veteran, can come in and lead these guys that are younger to, maybe not a championship quite yet, but they can lead them to getting on that level of, let's start thinking about winning. Let's start thinking about, what are some things that we can do to make ourselves better and get in that winning phase. And that's why I like Danilo Gallinari. It's going to be a short one for Danilo Gallinari because you know what he brings to the table. Offense, and that's pretty much it. Obviously, he's a veteran leader, and that's solid for a young team. Let's talk about a guy like Miles Turner. We have our center in Karl-Anthony Towns. Miles Turner is also a center. Why do you bring him up? I say that because Karl-Anthony Towns is so flexible that we could put him at the power forward position and bring in Miles Turner. Miles Turner is obviously, I don't believe he's on the table, but if we give him a massive trade offer, which who knows, might throw on some picks and whatever, maybe that can be done. We love Miles Turner because, yes, he can score, but his defensive effort and his defensive ability is where he shines. He's one of the best post defenders in the NBA. Obviously, Rudy Gobert is arguably number one, winning 3 Defensive Player of the Years, but I think Miles Turner is right there with him. A guy that's going to block shots. He's going to be able to contest. He's going to be in there just to defend hard. Obviously, as I said, Miles Turner is one of those guys that I don't think is going to be up on the trade block anytime soon. And if he is, then the Timberwolves should go right after him. Obviously, I don't know his exact contract numbers, but, we got to make that work, especially if he's on the table at all. If they call our phone, say, we need this and that, as long as it doesn't revolve Ant, Cat, D'Lo, I'm chilling. You know what I mean? You can take pretty much anyone else. I would love to keep Jaden, but he's not an untouchable like those other 3 guys that I talked about. So Miles Turner is an option. And we got Ben Simmons, a guy that we don't know the future of him besides going to the Shanghai Sharks. Okay, I should stop. We don't know his future. A young guy, friends with Cat and D'Lo, even though Cat and him kind of got in a fight. It's whatever. They're still friends. And D'Lo and Ben Simmons were on the same high school team, so it matches up perfectly. If we can't get Devin Booker, then get Ben Simmons. You think that. And he fits our scheme perfectly. Guy that, passes open dunks to get his teammate a contested layup. Anyway, a guy that isn't a offensive-minded guy, but his defense is where he shines, just like Miles Turner, but this time it's in a power forward. Ben Simmons, great perimeter and interior defender, a guy that can do it all on the defensive end of the ball. And that's the main one. You think of a power forward that the Timberwolves could snag up, a guy that's available in theory, you think of Ben Simmons. And I'd assume Ben would want to go to the Timberwolves, having two of his friends on the team and a team that has a bright future and a bright head coach that is very young when it comes to head coaching. But those are my three guys that just come to the top of my head. What else can we do to improve this roster? Well, to start off, I would love to get a backup point guard that isn't Ricky Rubio. We love Ricky Rubio for his leadership and everything that he does for the team, but we don't love that contract. We don't love the $17 million a year. And when we look at our roster right now, guys that can run, the point guard is Jordan McLaughlin, a guy that's a free agent this year, and who knows if we re-sign him. A guy like Jalen Noel, where his natural position is shooting guard, but he could run point guard definitely if he wants to. He's a good ball handler, and he's a good shooter at that. But neither of those guys that I mentioned are that key piece that we need as a sixth man off the bench. That's why I look at guys like Terry Rozier, those type of guys. Obviously, guys like that, if they weren't making as much money as Terry Rozier is making. Or Evan Fournier. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. That's another great example. I would love to have him. Obviously, I think he's secured on the Boston Celtics, but I would love to have a guy like that. Dennis Schroeder, he's a guy that I would love to have on this team. Obviously, there's a joke that he's going to the Shanghai Sharks. Yeah, okay, I keep making that. But Dennis Schroeder would be a great option. Obviously, he's looking for a $100 million contract, which is ridiculous. And that kind of throws him off the table. But a guy like that, where we'd love to have him. A guy that can defend and a guy that can score if absolutely needed. Obviously, we want a guy that can do all that, but isn't offering a contract that's $100 million. A guy that has a contract that would be worse than a Ricky Rubio. Ricky Rubio is a guy that can get the job done offensively, maybe not great, but he can also kind of defend. And his playmaking is superb, one of the best passers I've ever seen in my lifetime. But I think this team is really missing that veteran guy off the bench. The guy that's going to come in and tell you, we need to do this right now. Come on, let's play make, let's get this done. Let's get these points on the board, and let's do it efficiently. Let's play hard defense, hard-nosed defense, and not let them score. That's exactly what we need in a point guard for our team. When you think of great defenders at the point guard position that can come off the bench, you think of Patrick Beverly. Obviously, I would hate to have Patrick Beverly because he's a snake. And not like a Kevin Durant type of snake, more like a Cobra type of snake where he's going to come at you and kind of aggressive and try to rip off your neck, even if it's against the rule book. Anyway, he's kind of like that type of snake, not like a Kevin Durant type of snake. Anyway, we would love Patrick Beverly if he wasn't that type of player. Obviously, we love the strong defensive minds, but not when you're trying to hurt players or come into the position where you can hurt players often. And that's unfortunately what Patrick Beverly has become at this point. I love the hustle out of Patrick, but he's not a guy I would love to have on my team. And this all leads to the question of, you mentioned all these guys that could be great for this team, but they all have a flaw, and that's the issue. No player is going to be perfect for this franchise. No player is going to be perfect for literally any franchise out there unless you're an absolute superstar, LeBron James, Michael Jordan, Luka Doncic, Giannis type of player. So, what are we going to need to do to get this type of player? And I bring in the question of, are we going to trade or are we going to draft? And, if we draft, we're not going to get that veteran guy, but we're going to get that guy that may have that impact where he's going to be hard-nosed defender, a guy that's going to come in, bring that spark off the bench, tell your teammates, let's do this, come on, we got this. We need that type of guy. And I think a guy that we had already drafted in the past, and Leandro Balmero, a guy that I don't think is very outspoken, but he definitely is that type of player where he'll come out there and he'll get you buckets. A guy that will go out there and defend. He's linky. He's got the size to defend. Put on a little bit of extra weight, and guess what? We got a great defender in Leandro Balmero, especially at the point guard, shooting guard position, whatever he ends up running. Obviously, he'd be a taller point guard, but at least a guard off the bench like that. But that's just one of those guys where it's if you're going to draft or you're going to get one of those young guys, we already have one on the roster right there. And Obviously, we haven't seen what he's going to do yet because he hasn't been in the NBA yet. He's actually been in the Argentinian league that he was originally playing for prior to him being drafted. So what's next? What do we do? My instinct says get a guy like Patrick Beverly. A guy like that. Hard-nosed defender. Obviously, that's something I've been preaching this entire video. And I can't think of really any of them off the top of my head that are like that, but are also cheap. Obviously, I know there are players like that, but I'm just kind of blanking on it. If you guys do know anyone like that, please drop it down in the comments down below. But that's what I have for you guys. We need a tough-nosed defender off the bench at the guard position. We need a power forward. And that team being the Timberwolves, will be a future NBA championship contender. Thank you guys for watching. This has been my Minnesota Timberwolves trade package type of video and just talking about, what can we trade for? Anyway, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Remember to like and subscribe. It's been your boy, JELSON out. Peace.